just needed a sort of badass woman, you know, president of the United States. And I was like, me? You didn't bring it to someone else? Yes, I'm in.
If you calling us on the phone, we at the jacuzzi. That dress became a shredded dress. Who am I to deny Viola just in my own self? And then I came back to her and said, you know what, let's get that baby. You know, people say, oh, it takes a village, but it does, but you gotta open the door so people can come in the village.
Just saw the film, was locked in right from the opening scene. Tell me, how did this project come to you and what made you want to come on board as producers?
It came to us in 2015, right?
Right.
The Logan brothers came to our house.
Well, Andrew Lazar,
Yep.
our producer partner, brought it and came along with the Logan brothers to our home, and that's when the process started. You know, you always think these things are starting like, oh, it just happened. This has been a, what, 7 years?
7 years.
7-year journey.
And they brought it to us and they were saying, you know, action. We just needed a sort of badass woman, you know, president of the United States. And I was like, me? You didn't bring it to someone else? I was like, yes, I'm in.
And this was before Woman King. So Woman King was kind of happening.
Oh, yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
it was coming together at the same time. This was already kind of when it came to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You
And the
know.
premise was just too much. It was
So
hard to deny.
Yeah.
yes.
Your survival is what matters most. I will not leave them. Drop it!
I'm glad you brought up Woman King because I was thinking, oh, this came after and like you were already kind of trained. What kind of training did you go through? Because you are kicking butt all throughout this film.
Well, let me tell you something. And for Woman King, it was different. It was 5 hours a day for 3 months.
Right.
And then we continued training for the 5 months of filming. And I always say I was the oldest warrior, but G20 was different. I just continued training.
There was the gunplay and all that other stuff, more contemporary.
Yeah.
And
Those
button
fight
taking
scenes
names.
needed to be choreographed,
Yeah.
which I love. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
love. It appeals to the 6-year-old Viola,
Okay.
who was always ready to pretend fight. The elevator scene was something.
That was
yeah.
really something because, you know, it's tight quarters, but then, you know, they had to shoot in blocks, even within elevator. So that was really interesting to see that process.
That was quite well done.
I gotta ask about that red dress too. You're in it 90% of the film. Was it comfortable?
That dress became a shredded dress.
I'm someone that's like, if you want to kick ass, you want to kick ass in some sneakers and some, you know, maybe tights or something.
Yes.
But the dress was, you know what? The dress was another character.
Speaking of other characters, you are
Yes.
in this film as well.
Yeah.
What made you want to come on screen for this one?
Well, you know, I mean, listen, I want to be like Alfred Hitchcock. I want to show up just a little bit. I just kind of want to be in there just a little bit. But it was fun because, you know, I was playing CIA agent or head of department, Mickelson. We were trying to replicate kind of the seriousness of what would be happening and hoping that, you know, our team there, not knowing what was going on, was going to be protecting her.
You know, with an action movie, I have a tendency to want to do everything.
Okay.
And he'll come in and say, V, you don't have to do this.
Right.
Especially in the elevator scene, falling through the shaft.
Yeah.
You know, the constant, you know, kicking. And what people don't realize is the SAG strike happened. So we had to
During that
stop
time.
shooting.
Oh,
and then when we came back, we went back to the
Right.
elevator scene.
We had to resume.
So Julius
So it
kept
was
saying,
kinda
V,
hard.
you don't have to do all this
That's
now.
right.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to get her, you know, like, hey, let's
Yeah.
keep a balance
Yeah.
or whatever, because you're going to be doing this whole thing.
Absolutely.
So, you know, some things you don't have to do, right?
Yeah.
So you try not to do those.
Take me back to 2011 when you decided to start your production company.
Wow.
Was there a specific incident that made you say, okay, we're starting?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It was Viola's career. The elevation started happening. And what are you going to do when you see the elevation and not much is happening around that elevation? You have to be the change you want to see. You have to step up so that we could take care of where Viola's career was going. So it was an opportunity for us to do the thing. Now, listen, I'm an actor. I'd never run a production company, but I got good leadership qualities.
Okay.
And I know how to work with people. I'm a big team guy. I believe in team. I believe in everybody getting credit. I don't think anyone should get more than the other. So I saw an opportunity that we needed to do something to help elevate Viola's career. And starting this company really has done that. Not that Viola wasn't already elevating, but just that we kind of had more impetus to
Yeah.
kind of just move forward
Because
and speak
I
truth
always
to
say
power.
the three most important words after you win an award, which is like a car when you get the gold statue. As soon as you drive the car off the lot, it depreciates in value. It's the
Right.
same thing with an award. As soon as you give your acceptance speech and you walk off, it depreciates in value. Same thing after any success. The three most important words is, and now what? Especially for a black actress. And now what? What's out there? Is there a special like closet where all the greatest scripts that have ever been written are stacked up, waiting for a dark-skinned, wide-nosed, big-lip black actress to just come and we're just going to elevate you? Or do you have to create that closet yourself?
Yeah. It's about tending to, taking care of yourself, but being realistic.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and finding ways and finding the allies.
Yeah.
And they're out there.
You have to keep moving.
Okay.
You can't kind of just sit back. You have to keep moving, ever how small.
You have to focus on your authenticity, what you love, finding your posse, more so than thinking that the business is going to just open the door for you.
Gotcha.
You can't focus on that. You
That's
have to
right.
focus on your goal, and your vision and your purpose, and stick with it. And at some point, people will come.
I was thinking about American Coco being one of the
yes,
productions
yes,
you got
yes,
behind.
Tiara
To see,
Kilpatrick.
to see her now with her own show on
Yeah.
BET,
Right.
like what does that mean to you all to see what you fostered?
Well, it means a lot.
yeah.
Because where much is given, much is required. And when we started JuVee, it became more than just being a platform for just Viola. We wanted it to be a place where other artists of color could have an opportunity to, it's always about sticking the foot in the door. I stick my foot in the door for you, you got to go through it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do my part. That's the only way we can kind of keep this thing going is by supporting one another. So it was about support.
Yeah.
DR was extremely talented. She'd worked with us on a couple of our other films. And so it was just apropos to do this with she and Miles. They were great. And they did all that work. And we supported that work. And it was fun. It was a fun fun show to do.
At some point, you don't want to have the same narrative every decade. In the 70s, during blaxploitation, it's the same narrative. There's nothing out there for us. There's nothing out there. You hear it on a loop, right? And then it comes to the point where you have the baton. You have a chance to run your leg of the race. So how are you going to run it? Are you going to run it and just elevate yourself?
Yeah.
Or are you going to pass a baton to the next great runner and run a great race?
It's about how we get the pipe. We got to get the pipeline.
Yeah.
We got to get more people in the pipeline. People that have the talent, have the ability, have the will.
Yeah.
That's what's important. And then once you get an elevated status, you have an opportunity to pull more people in. It's so true. People say, "Oh, it takes a village," but it does. But you got to open the door so people can come in the village.
Exactly.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that way they can have an opportunity to excel.
Yes.
So that's what it's about for us.
Yeah. And you started the production company right at the same time you became parents. What
Yeah,
was that
Genesis
like?
came. We adopted
2010,
Genesis.
she was
Yeah.
born. Yep.
Yes.
I was a single father for 17 years, so I knew what it was to raise kids, right? And if you're gonna take on a child, you got to be ready to do that again.
Yeah.
But I prayed about it, and then I was like, who am I to deny Viola? Just in my own self,
Yeah.
within myself. And then I came back to her and said, you know what, let's get that baby.
She's
Just-
a teenager now.
Yeah, she's a teenager.
14. Oh, man. Just
Yeah,
a joy.
And she's great. She's a great kid.
She's just a
She be
joy.
rolling eyes. You know how they do.
Yes.
No,
But-
we couldn't roll our eyes back.
No, we couldn't do
We're
that back in the day.
generation where
That's what we always
couldn't
tell her
either.
too. We always tell her, I couldn't do what you're doing right now. My teeth would be
that's why
over
we're
there.
alive right
That's why
now.
we're here.
Did you always dream of being a mother one day?
You know what? I did.
Okay.
I did. What happened was my career started taking off, and then I hit that ceiling of disillusionment of going, is this it? You know, all I am is tired, and I'm isolated because people don't understand when you hit top, you don't have a lot of people around you. And I remember running into Lorraine Toussaint, and she adopted a baby. And she said, Viola, what factored in my decision is I didn't want series regular to be on my gravestone.
Wow.
And that was the big poof, aha moment. I don't want to say that my daughter is my legacy. I think that puts too much on her. But I did want more meaning in my life. I did want the attention to be a little bit away from me. So Genesis has taught me a lot about myself.
You know, I remember vividly when you talked, I believe you talked to Oprah about how you wrote a letter about the type of man you wanted. Do you really feel that letter brought you to him and is kind of manifesting a superpower of yours?
Manifestation is definitely a superpower. I believe that you do have the power to attract the desires of your heart. Yeah. I do. And I think that when you're not connected to your heart, I think the desires are walking in your life and you miss them. I didn't miss Julius. I don't think that if I got down on my knees and said, I want someone real country from the South or whatever, I don't think that if I would have known that Julius that day on City of Angels came to me and said, you ever been to Santa Monica Pier? I'll take you to Santa Monica Pier. I wouldn't have gotten it.
Here we are, 26 years later from
Well,
when
it's 25 years together,
Yeah.
21 years married. We're
Yes.
coming up on 22 this summer. 22 years married, so.
Did you think you'd be here?
Well, I'm thankful that I'm here. Just because, when you get older, you just want peace.
Yeah.
And you want calm. And everything's not so what it was when I was a younger cat,
Yeah.
so it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
About 10 years ago on the Oscar carpet, you said that you all were doing date nights. I believe date nights in the jacuzzi. It was at that
yeah.
time.
Oh, no, that ain't
No,
date
that-
nights. That date
Date
night, day, everything, all day. Yeah,
Are
shoot,
we
that's-
still doing that?
Hey, listen,
Yes.
that don't stop the jacuzzi.
Absolutely.
If you want to find us, if you calling us on the phone, we in the jacuzzi. You
can come and
Viola,
join us
cut
if
the
you want
jets
to.
off. We always in our jacuzzi.
Yeah.
I have to change the motors in that jacuzzi. We use it so much. But hey, we love it.
So many people, look to your love story for inspiration and just, what it represents, particularly for Black love. What do you say to people who would hope to emulate your story?
Well, what I would say is like with anybody who you meet and you're attracted to, it's about agreeing to disagree, to get anything done in a relationship and anything. And also listening.
I always say, you take care of you for me, and I take care of me for you. Yeah. And that's what I believe. I believe that every time we have a disagreement, I have to be cognizant enough to understand where it's coming from. And a lot of times, it's coming from me. It's coming from some unhealed portion of my life. It's coming from, I don't know, maybe a little remnants of not feeling worthy, maybe little remnants of past relationships, that I'm just piling on. And I feel that like self-understanding, intelligence has done a world of good for our relationship.
And you just have to have grace for the other person.
What do you see or hope for your legacies to be as Black creatives and as partners?
Well, you want to leave a legacy because they say that until the last person dies who knew you live. Yeah. You want to do things that are going to be impactful. You want to be a founder, so then that way others who have come up will always look back and say, well, Viola and Julius started that thing, or they were helpful.
The worst feeling is feeling alone. And I remember when I was just being discovering that I was an actress, and I would read plays by myself at home because I'm an introvert. And I remember reading Arthur Miller. I think I was reading The Crucible, and I opened the book, and the first quote from him was, I write so that people can feel less alone. And I said, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to make people feel less alone. And I think that's the beauty of what we do as artists is, people feel seen. And if we can make people feel seen, that's it.
And you do.
It's gold.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
both so
you.
much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Country.
You country. See? It don't stop.
Walk away.
This it don't stop.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.